I need to get audio from the mic to the live stream, and that's the last piece I have to do. And I can't figure that out. I've got, so I see the level meter bouncing, but it doesn't seem to want to go to the live stream, and I don't know why. And if you have any ideas, that'd be, check. So I've got my, I've set it up as the Logitech one. I have a custom, I have it set for audio device there. So use a custom audio. So I'm using the USB thing as my audio in. I've got it set to capture. Yeah, and you see the thing bouncing. What do you mean?
Like the scene that has.
Yeah, so I'm not in studio mode, so it's always it just immediately goes to whatever you click. I switched over to SecDSM live stream now, so we might be a little spammy. Hey, if anyone on live stream can hear us, send us a Slack message. We'd appreciate it. Well, what's funny is when I kick the audio on from my.
Oh, dude, that's working.
Oh, it is working. Maybe my tablet's being stupid.
That's like blown out. I turned it down a little bit.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say. Well, yeah, it was hitting the red, so that makes sense. Okay, so it was working all. Okay, so now we just need to make sure I'm not screaming the crap out of it. Brandon, let's check this level. This is 80%. Is 80% a decent live stream level? This is 80%. I'm going to turn on music too now that we know it's working. Once I find my music. 80%. 80%. That's still the blown out one. Sound better? Okay, cool. Here, I'm curious.
shakes a tambourine. Nicotine from the silver screen. Speed seduction in the magazine. Endless pleasure in the limousine. In the back shakes a tambourine. Nicotine from the silver screen.
Now, to throw down some mad beats like the kids are into. Oons, 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 oons dugga dugga. Oons, 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 oons beep, beep beep beep. Oons, 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 oons dugga dugga. Oons, 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 oons beep, beep beep beep. Oons, 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 oons dugga dugga. Oons, 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 oons beep, beep beep beep. Oons, 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 oons. Wow.
Hello? Hello? Testing? Testing? Welcome to December 2017 SecDSM. First order of business, the disclaimer. SecDSM exists as an educational entity. We do not condone any sort of illegal activity regarding things you may learn here. It's also worth noting that we actively seek to engage law enforcement within this community, and sometimes they show up, most of the time they show up, so you may be sitting next to a police officer, so don't do anything illegal. Also, PG-13 language. Keep it rated PG-13, and we won't have any problems. So, as part of the presentation tonight, or as part of the 101, we're going to talk about something that we've recently adopted, a code of conduct. I'm going to invite Ben Schmidt to come up and talk about that in a minute. As a precursor to that, if you have any sort of problem with SecDSM, please email admin@secdsm.org. And one of us will help you, one of us will get back to you, and we'll address the problem together. Ben will go into more detail on that in just a minute, so if you have any questions, please wait until Ben comes up, because he is better at answering questions than I am. So, some of you may know we have multiplied. So now there's, in addition to SecDSM, there is SecIC. That's out in the Iowa City, Cedar Rapids area. They had their first meeting last week, and it drew 30 or 40 people. Great start. We want to welcome those guys. A couple of them are here tonight. Thanks. If you're interested in going to the next SecIC meeting, I believe it's January 16th, and usually there's a group of SecDSM people that carpool over. There will hopefully be a group of SecDSM people that carpool over. So hit us up on Slack. There'll be messages that go out, and we'll get together and go over there. So at this point, I'm going to turn over to Ben for a few minutes to talk about our new code of conduct, as well as the transparency report.
Thank you. We didn't post it up here. We will post it in the site soon. It's not out there. But we based it on other codes of conduct we liked. We didn't write it from scratch. So I'll stop moving for you. Portland Python Users Group was one of the inspirations. We put those credits at the end, but there's 4 key things I wanted to at least address with the group. One is the mission of SecDSM cannot be achieved without a harassment-free community. I think we can all believe in that. So that's how we begin and open this. We do define harassment. It applies to all SecDSM members and sponsors. It is not exclusive of one group. It covers everybody here. Reporting and board action is defined, including warning or expulsion. So what is the mechanical thing we're going to do if something happens? That is defined. And then lastly, and Nick just mentioned this, what are the channels for support? So there's Slack. You can DM any of the board members. You can find us in person. Or admins at SecDSM will let all of us know something's up, and we will respond to you and take care of that. So I'll keep it short and sweet, but we will post that sometime soon, and we feel really good about taking that step in maturity for the group.
Next slide.
Cool? Yeah, next slide. All right, transparency report. So the space, the beer, and the food, again, is offered by The Forge from Pillar Technology. So let's give them a round of applause. We thank you very much. In addition to that, we have plates that are really nice. We have glasses that are really nice, napkins, etc. Please help clean up. So in the kitchen, there's a place to put your plates. We know where to throw trash away. Please help us keep this place clean. Since Pillar provides it, that's the least we can do to make their jobs a little easier. The sponsor, again, is Checkpoint Software. We really appreciate that. This is month 2 in a row. We very much thank that. Is Checkpoint just outside? Cool, so they're over there. Again, thanks for coming and help sponsor and grow the community, and please stop by and chat with them. All right, financial transparency. I'll give you the highlights here. So our bank account has $3,200 in it. How did it get there? If you look to the stacked bar chart on the right, over the last 3 months, we've had debits and credits. So green is money in, blue is money out. So in December, we spent a decent amount of money. What do we spend it on? We had to replenish some of the swag. As you may or may not know, polos went fast, and we need to get some more polos in. I wanted to get them here tonight. That didn't happen. They'll be here for next meeting, I promise. They'll be very similar to the existing polos. We'll get some new designs and other stuff going next year. There are some talented new board members that have already discussed that, so we'll keep the swag fresh. And then some patches as well. Over the 4-month period, if you net it out, we're down $215, but we've had a pretty good amount of support from our sponsors and others, so we're really thankful for that. And then lastly, lower left-hand corner, that's our P&L for the year of 2017. Any questions on this stuff? Where the money is, how it gets there? You cool with that? If you do have questions, come ask me. Nate will probably do this next time. He's the treasurer now, but I'm happy to help. If you have questions on this stuff, please let me know.
Yep. Thank you, Ben. SecDSM, third Thursday of the month. That means January 18th, back here at Pillar, at the Forge by Pillar. Mark your calendars. It'll be another good session. So we'll see you January 18th. Slack. Okay, so if you're not in the Slack channel, you should be. The Slack channel is where it is at. So it's probably it's all of us. It's we've come together and formed this really tight community on Slack, and if you're not on it, you should be. To sign up for Slack, go to secdsm.org, scroll down, sign up, and then you can chat with almost 300 local InfoSec community members. And I'm sure, like we did with 200, we'll do some sort of prize for the 300th. Yes, I'm getting the nod that that is true. Okay. Especially if it happens tonight. So if you can get that number over 300, you might win a prize tonight. Swag. Okay, so we're running low on swag. T-shirts and beanie caps. They're $20 each. And we may have 1 or 2 polos left. Those are $40. And if you want to purchase one of those, you can either pay at secdsm.org, or Ben can accept some cash for you tonight, even though he hates doing it. You can walk home with your swag tonight. We will be refilled by next month, so if you want a polo in a size we don't have, come back next month and we'll have one for you. Upcoming events. So I want to highlight a couple upcoming events. Namely CentralCon, which is going to be in Des Moines on January 27th. SecDSM is helping with that. If you want to get involved with that effort, please see Brandon Murphy, and he will give you some guidance on how to proceed. Also worth noting is B-Sides Iowa is April 14th of next year. SecDSM is also heavily involved in that. If you would like to be involved as well, again, please see Brandon Murphy, and he will give you guidance on how to proceed. The rest of these events are available on the secdsm.org website, so if you are interested in a particular one and you forget what day it is, just head on over to secdsm.org and you can find this list there. Alright, tonight, the mini SecDSM CTF. Challenge, Steal Me. Tom, do you want to introduce this challenge?
So I hope you guys brought laptops, because you're going to want to play this challenge tonight. So we created a Litecoin wallet, and we put about $75 worth of Litecoin. I know right now cryptocurrency is a hot topic. Like, I was at my son's Boy Scout meeting, and I got peppered with questions from lots of people about cryptocurrency. So I know it's on the top of everybody's mind. So we thought we'd make a cryptocurrency-based challenge this month. So it's Litecoin-based. So the trick is we put money in this wallet, and I want you to steal it. And if you go to the secdsm.org/CTF, you know, there's some other information there that'll help you get started in it, but I want somebody to steal my money. So go there, hack all the things, steal my money. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. So if you want that money, please go ahead and go to secdsm.org/CTF to get started on that. Next is the Hobbies channel on Slack, and I think James would like to introduce that. So let's call James up to do that and news. Thank you, James.
Move my phone. Set the mic off last time. All right, can everybody hear me? Yep. By the way, if you didn't hear, I didn't put it in the news slides coming up, but if you don't want to go ahead and pay, excuse me, play the CTF, I brought some of my Chuck E. Cheese coins that I'll be willing to sell you for Bitcoins instead, like the guy that got arrested for selling $1 million worth of Chuck E. Cheese tokens for Bitcoins to random people. Hobbies channel. One of the channels, we have a whole bunch of channels out there on the Slack. If you're not signed up, please do, like everybody else has said. But we have a hobbies channel as well. So far, that's included some cigar events and some rain days. For the cigar events, the next one will be January 5th. Change the time to 8 p.m. so that people can get home after work, get the kids, go home and have dinner with the family, and then come over and have a cigar if you want. It's out in Waukee. It's BYOB out there, beer, wine, or soda, and you can bring in food. And then we were doing some range days. Obviously, it's winter time, and everybody's not super fired up about going and shooting guns outside when it's 10 degrees and snowy. So I put those on hold, except may do something at one of the indoor ranges in February or March if people are interested. All right, news. So first story up. We actually had the U.S. Department of Justice charge 3 Chinese hackers for hacking companies in November. They're actually supposedly part of the APT3 group, which has several other names, as you can see up there, and they're tied to hacks all over the world. I put this in here not specifically because this is super awesome news, but there's actually a big concern out there now that U.S. government employees are concerned that now that the United States government is pursuing actors in Russia and China and charging them with crimes, if they have the chance to arrest them on vacation or something like that, that actually U.S. government employees, especially NSA employees, ex-CIA employees that are working in the cybercrime fields, are actually concerned that other countries will charge them with crimes and arrest them while they're vacationing in Spain. Next up, we had the Andromeda botnet, or Gamaru botnet, shut down in, I think, late November, early December, if I remember correctly. This is one of the biggest botnets out there. Another huge group takedown. Microsoft and several private companies were a large part of this, taking down all the systems. It was actually being used to deliver over 80, I believe, at the time it was shut down, pieces of, or different malware families, and was a botnet that was being rented out and making the owner a ton of money. And as you can see, we had over 1 million computers a month infected with the malware. Following on with more government fun, Kaspersky actually filed lawsuit after Homeland Security and the government banned the use of Kaspersky software, and I believe the UK government made the same moves as well. So Kaspersky's suing based on the fact that, as you can see down at the bottom, their government contracts were actually a massively small amount of their overall business, and this has had a huge impact on the private side in the United States as well as several other Western countries. Next up, we've actually got the Mirai malware group was actually taken down by the Department of Justice as well. It was 3 young men actually, I believe, if I remember correctly. It came from Minecraft originally, possibly. They were using it to take people out from Minecraft servers. They were using it for click fraud malware and all that, so we're well aware of Mirai. And then, awesome news in the last week or so, the White House turned around and after messing with Kaspersky, blamed North Korea for WannaCry with no actual evidence whatsoever that was given out to the public to attempt to work with. So we have no idea why. There's no public or even private company oversight. There was no new details released. This was actually released by not the President of the United States, but by Homeland Security Advisor in a story with the Wall Street Journal. And it was and re-asked, and he would not touch the concept of eternal blue being used, which was very well tied to the NSA as a cyber weapon. And last but not least, I thought this was hilarious. The new list of worst passwords for 2017 came out. Star Wars actually showed up as the number 16 worst password. Of course, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and password were still at the top of the list at 1 and 2, but it beat out pass W0RD as number 17. That is it for me for the news. Wanted to cover that real quick. We always like to do a jobs section. If there's anyone with a position that they would like to announce here, or anyone looking for a position that wants to get up and put themselves out there, throw out their name, have people ask some questions, that type of thing, you're more than welcome. So, anyone? Going once? Anyone with a position? All right, there we go. Oop. Go ahead and just come on up and let everybody know where you're at and what's going on.
This works. Hey guys, everybody hear me all right? That's good. Hey, I'd just want to come up here and see if anybody was, I posted a deal on the SecDSM Slack channel just a little bit ago. If anyone's interested or knows anybody that's interested in a network engineering position, come hit me up. There's also some NOC tech positions available, as well as I believe we're looking for a network technician as well. So, any questions? This is with Arion. So,
Do employees get discounts on Rackspace?
hold on. That's a good question. I do not know. But there's some pretty cool lab stuff to play with. I will say that. So.
Experience levels?
The network engineer positions, we're looking for someone that's got, if I can keep this on, about 7 years of networking experience. The cool thing about it is, you know, the switches and routing, but not only that, you also get to play with MPLS and work on, you know, kind of an ISP side of things, which, you know, in my past experience was really hard. It was like enterprise, or, you know, you didn't get a mix of the data center, enterprise, as well as the ISP. So 7 years there. As far as the network technician goes, probably looking 3 or 4 years of experience there. So, but anybody?
I think there was someone else. Yeah, I was going to say, you can just hold it. You don't hold that in case you move.
All right, so my name is AJ. I work for FC Stone. I actually will have 2 positions available. I would title them a midpoint for a SecOps team, as well as a entry-level SecOps team. So entry-level one is really a lot of that operational work that you do every day, triage and alerts, sim alerts. And then the mid-level position, I would say 3 to 5 years of experience there. Everything, it's going to be more of an engineering role, but everything from next-gen firewall, endpoint antivirus, encryption, all those pieces. So if you want more details, I am on SecDSM Slack. Hit me up, or it's just andrew.king@ifcs.com. So.
Nope, I got it.
I actually have a job.
Yep. Oh, you do. There you go. You do have a job?
So I work at Sonatype, and we have a security researcher position coming up that'll be open in January. This is all the way entry level to highly experienced, and it's a largely focused on static analysis and application security. So if you would like to talk more, come find me or hit me up on Slack. I'm in Stark, and yeah, thank you. All right. Tonight's agenda, we are finishing up the 101. SecDSM news has been completed. At 6:30, we'll have Aaron to Kip. There's something wrong with this picture, Steganography 101. And then the rest of the time is devoted to the CTF, and you have to be out of here by 9. So we'll take a little break, and we'll come back. One last thing, we have the tool room open over here in this corner. Arden is running that. If you'd want to pick some locks tonight, find Arden and go pick some locks. It'll be a lot of fun. Next month, like we said earlier, January 18th, 2018, if you would like to speak or you have a topic you would like spoken on, please come find me. I'd love to talk to you about that. Even if you don't want to give the talk and you just have an idea of something you'd like to hear about, I would love that feedback. So again, come find me if you want to talk about that. Also, we'll have tool discussion occurring in the side room next month as well. So short break, and then we will get right into Aaron's talk. Thank you.
Alright, we're live.
Internet, welcome back to SecDSM. How's it going? Technical issues resolved. So, we were going to talk about the thumbnail. So at one point, I had a challenge where, like, the challenge gave me something, and I thought they were really mean because I didn't know how to solve it, and that's how if I don't know how to solve it, I'm not dumb. The people who made the challenge are mean. So they gave me, hang on, let me find it. Ignore my messy CTF desktop. Like, where is it? Thumbnail. I got this image with like Leonardo DiCaprio on it. And like I said, a lot of times the people who make CTFs troll you, and I'm like, why do I have an image with we need to go deeper on it? This is dumb. So naturally my head goes and I'm digging through bytes and binary and all this stuff. And I probably spent way too many hours of my life trying to solve this thing that wasn't even for like a legit CTF where you win stuff. It was like an online CTF that I'm just bored and trying to solve stuff. So I had this image. And I'm like, cool, that's great, but I have to finish this because there's fake internet points and I gotta win them. Come on, VM. Oh, come on. Control C, I tried, it didn't go. It hates me. Try again. Oh, do I have to reboot the VM? Anyway. So we're going to reboot the VM and we'll continue. So I'll just tell you how it works because it's not that cool. So on that one, the thumbnail of the thumbnail. So you extract a thumbnail with like EXIF tool and you get the same image. No, that one literally gives you, well, it looks like the same image, Tom. I mean, it's the same picture. And you're like, why did you give me the same image? But it says we need to go deeper. And after hours, I'm thinking, do I just have to do that again? Because there was a thumbnail. And yeah, you do it again and it gives you the flag. And it made me very angry. But now I know how to do it. So the next time I see that, I'm going to rock that because I've got it. So if you want to do it, EXIF tool is your friend. So, all right, so cool. So let's go back. So we were here. So we got metadata. So that's cool. But that's only going to solve like a small percentage of these things. And if you get one of those and you're like, okay, now what? I've looked at all the metadata and I've looked at strings and all that stuff, and I got nothing. There's nothing here. So then the question becomes, is there data? Where else can you hide data? Is there data at the end of the file? Well, cool. How do I know what the end of the file is? Magic bytes? We know magic bytes? Does everybody know magic bytes? So inside of an image, when you start looking at the hex dumps, there is a hex sequence at the beginning of like a picture, like a JPEG, I think it's FFD9 off the top of my head. D8, FFD8, thank you. FFD9 is at the end. So FFD8 will tell the OS, if I remember how all this works, that this is in fact a JPEG image. FFD9 will tell the OS this is the end of the JPEG image. Cool, right? So in the CTF, sometimes they'll take at the end of the image, after the FFD9, they'll embed a bunch of extra stuff. And that's where your flag is. So, cool. What's this look like in practice? So we're in the middle of nowhere, South Dakota at Wild West Hackin' Fest. We already did one CTF and we're done. So we decide, hey, there's another CTF. Let's go do the other CTF. And it's an IoT CTF. So there's this challenge. There's an IoT refrigerator. And this is, I have the actual images. I don't have a picture of what the HTML looked like. But this is what the thing is. So it's got all these things in the refrigerator, and you can like add and subtract quantities. And I don't remember if Tom, do you remember what was all wrong with this thing? Command injection? Who knows? It was broken. It was really bad. But like the 500-point question was, Grandma thinks there's something wrong with the pictures on the fridge, and I'm like, how does Grandma know there's something wrong with the picture of the beer on the fridge? She's crazy. And why is this in an IoT CTF? Because that's not a broken IoT device. That sounds like a Stego challenge. So it's like 3 o'clock and it ends at 4. So I'm like, yeah, let's play with some Stego stuff that I probably can't solve because I'm out of other stuff to break. And we're here in Deadwood, South Dakota.
So, that is not going to let me type. Come on. Oh, oh, there we go. It's super slow. My computer fails. So, start. I grabbed the HTML of the web page, right? So I looked at, figured out what all the images were. I did wget. I downloaded all the images because I'm lazy and I hate right-clicking. Sweet. So, I have all the images. So then I started poking at them. And I'm thinking, what's significant about these images? You can see in a second here, as soon as I get the command prompt pulled up, we can start poking through this. Come on, it's just super slow. Right, so I downloaded all the images. And of course, this is literally just my notes from the CTF from Sublime. I literally just found them the other day. I was like, oh, I actually have the notes from when I solved this like real time. So I download all these images, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. Why is orange juice a PNG file? It's different. That has to be the answer. Yes, I win. Tom shaking his head, no, it's not the answer because they hate people or something. And I can't type. So and then I started digging through, like, what are the sizes of the images and all this other stuff. And I went down a whole rabbit hole and I was wrong, which normally happens. So we're talking about magic bytes, right? So if you've never seen this, XXD will just dump the hex of a file command prompt, which is cool and super, super useful for this stuff. Make this a little bigger. Can we see that? You can't see me. Well, that's because I warned you about that. I fail. I'm a former sales guy. I move and I talk with my hands, and I can't help it. All right, so if we look at just the top of this file, and it's super big, so we have to scroll. Come on. Oh, it's super laggy. That's the problem. So we got a file. I can't find where I did it. Do this again. So we only see the top of it. Right? It's like legit. So this is a PNG file, so it's not FFD8. PNG file, the hex of it is 8950 or IHDR. Pro tip, thanks to Brandon Murphy, you can open PNG files in Wireshark. I learned that's like my one takeaway that I will never forget from DEF CON this year. You can open PNG files in Wireshark. Why? I don't know. And you won't. Oh, is that how it works? Because I can tell you it's not useful until it is. And when it's useful, you're like, this is the best thing I've ever seen. Holy cow, that puts the data exactly how I have to see it to solve this problem, and I know what I have to do. It was amazing. Pro tip of the night, Wireshark will open PNG files. Anyway, back to this. So we can see our magic bytes. Here's our magic bytes for PNG file. And all these are documented. If you Google magic bytes, there's like a Wikipedia site that has all this stuff documented. I don't memorize this stuff. I look it up on the internet because that's just too much to remember. So we got this thing. Come on. Let's turn. So that's interesting and all. So we can see the magic bytes. And there's another little command line tool when I'm super lazy called PNG check that will just tell you if a PNG file is legit or if it's corrupt, or in this case, is there additional data at the end of the file? Like I said, I'm lazy and sometimes I just like to use that tool as opposed to just like doing this. So you can also just like do PNG file and just do tail. I fail at typing. Right, so you just look at the end of the file. So what we got is, and it's hard to see here. What's that? Strings will probably get it too, right? Strings, yeah, right. Right, exactly. So I see this, and we're in South Dakota, and this thing like wraps up at 4, and it's 3, and we're trying to catch up in the CTF, and I'm like, sweet. Do we all see the base 64? Like right here. Like, hang on. IEND is the end of the file. This is all extra stuff. It's base 64 encoded, and it comes down to here. And I'm like, sweet, I've got this. Like, boom, I win 1-0. Well, but it's a CTF, so it's never that easy. So, of course, we take it, and we take, oh, I'm going to type this because I'm going to fail. C, P, C, Y, B, O, A. Oh, come on. I, A equals 1, C, because this is what I really did. Oh, sorry. I'm going to pipe it into basic. Right, so like you said, Linux command line whenever you can, because in a CTF, it's going to be faster than finding an online place where you can decode base 64. So all I did is I took the extra string that we see there, and I echoed it into base 64-D and said, decode this stuff. Because looking at it, I think it's base 64, because that's just what it looks like. And we get, what is this, colon, space, it doesn't know what that is. So I'm like, okay, well that's cool, but that's not the answer. Well, that sucks. So let's move on. And so I start poking at the other images, right? So I'm like, okay, well, we got Apple, which is in the upper left corner. Let's look at Apple. Let's see, into tail. Well, cool. You look at it, we got the same thing. V2, HHD, CB, whatever, yada, 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 equals R1. I'm like, huh. Well, that's cool. What's the last couple characters? Okay, well, let's echo R1. And because I fail at stuff and I sometimes don't think when I'm doing this, I'm like, I'm just going to echo that into base 64.D and let's decode that. Huh. Oh, wait, I decoded it anyway. Sweet. It's a G. R1 is G. We were doing a Grim CTF. All the flags started with capital GRIM, something flags. Like, oh, sweet. That's the beginning of the flag. We can do this. So, yeah, right? I mean, you have that aha moment. You're like, oh, yeah, I'm going to win. And then you're like, so you start thinking, you're like, okay, what's it really going to take to do this? So we've got our picture, right? Let's go back to the picture for 1 second. So I've pulled all the images. Hang on, slideshow. Current slide. So we've got this picture, and I've pulled all these, and I'm like, okay, so the order's going to be apple, beer, hummus, orange juice, cheese, yogurt, eggs, lettuce. I'll put them in that order, because that's the order they are there, and we're done. And we can go have a beer, and it's all going to be sweet. So, hang on, where's my mouse? And I don't want to do it all, because I don't want to make you all watch. So you can actually see, there's like really my notes where I pulled all the files, and I put them in Sublime, so I could then rearrange them, because I figured I'd be wrong. We echo this, which is the top one is the order they were in the refrigerator. I missed the R. Oh well. And we pipe it into base. Ooh, well, that's cool, but that's wrong. But we're making headway because we have GRI and then a whole bunch of stuff that's not printable characters. So, I mean, we're literally sitting there and the CTF is closed and it's like, well, this sucks because I'm really close and we're not that far behind the people in first place and I want to win.
Where'd we end up?
Second. First loser. That's all right. We did good. It was a great week. We had a blast. That was a great weekend. Wild West Hackin' Fest, if you guys can go next year, was awesome. Awesome. Small con, lots of people there. Everybody's super friendly. Lots of CTFs, so it was super fun. Anyway, back to this. So I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, I was the person putting this thing together. What else could I do that someone could still solve? Apple, orange juice. What if I put them in alphabetical order? What if they were in alphabetical order and I base 64 decode that, right? Because Apple was right. Apple gave me the G. So that's what I did here. I was like, okay, well, here's if I put all the things from the refrigerator in order. Hang on. Typing is not a strong suit of mine, by the way. So if you put all the little pieces in order, And then you decode that. Yay! There's the flag! 500 points, and then I went and tried to hack something else, a toaster, I think, and I totally failed. I still have the firmware. It's on my list. What's that? Do we? Like, for real? Seriously? Because I've built a box at home to reverse and like run in QEMU, or however you say it, that Android firmware on that box so I can write the exploit to pop the toaster next time I see them. I haven't done it yet. So if anybody here does exploit development for Android, I would love to talk to you and figure out how to do it. Sorry. There's an aside. Yeah, I want to hack the toaster. I'm not joking. These are the reasons my wife says I have issues. So that's that. So that's just a real life example of, and that one's a little bit more complicated. A lot of times you'll just find some encoded stuff after the file and you can just decode it, or it's just clear text and you win. Or, besides Iowa last year, someone in the room made a Stego challenge where there was a zip file embedded in, yeah, I don't know who that was, Tom, a password protected file in an image that said words have power, that you had to carve out the zip file. If you ever hit that, binwalk, the Linux command line tool, will tell you if there's extra like files embedded in it. It also works if there's like an image in an image, or you're extracting firmware. It's super cool. Foremost will just carve the things for you and dump them out for you, which is awesome. But yeah, at Besides Iowa last year, Tom had one where there was an image file, which I don't have that file, otherwise I would have done it live. But yeah, it's an image file. You use Foremost, you dump the zip file. It's password protective. Me and Chris spent hours trying to crack the password on the zip file because it's a CTF, and why wouldn't we crack the password? I mean, that seemed logical. And the password was words have power. And then we cursed Tom's name.
Wait, what was in the picture?
What the
picture was the words have power.
No, exactly. The image he gave us said words have power, and the zip was words have power. And after we spent hours trying to crack it, and I think Tom said, "You're trying too hard." We're like, "Hey, why don't we try words have power?" And it opened, and we were very, very, very angry. And then we laughed. It's fun. So, like, these are super frustrating, but once you get them, you're like, "Yes, I win." Fake internet points. Anyway, cool. So, back to our internet fridge, we covered that. So what if that didn't work? What if you still got this image and you're like, okay, now what? Okay, so we had 8 bits in a byte, right? We're all cool with that? We got a byte and it's 8 bits. When you have an image that's 8-bit color, we're just going to simplify this and say you have 3 sets of 8 bits. You have a set of bits in a byte for blue, red, and green. Right? So what if, and when you start thinking about this, and this gets super complicated, and if we have any digital photography people in here that really want to explain how this works, that'd be awesome, because this is just how I think of it. So you take these different color, and they're really planes inside the image. Take the flat image and turn it on its side, you get something that looks like this. You get planes of color inside the image, inside the pixels. And I see a head shaking, so this might make sense. It's really sketchy on if anybody was going to get this. So you take your 8-bit image, you turn it on the side, you have planes of color inside the image. So that's cool, but that really hurts my head. What does that have any applicability to anything we're talking about? So the thing I can do is show this and how you can solve a challenge with this. Hang on, where's my mouse? So in my Googling, and I don't even remember when I found this thing. Oh, dude, yes, I don't know who wrote this, but if I ever meet them, I'm going to buy them dinner and drinks and whatever they want. I need to look this guy up to see if he's legit at DEF CON, because I will buy him whatever he wants. This thing is so awesome. So it's a little Java applet called StegSolve. And this is where like planes of images clicked for me. So you open StegSolve, it's a Java thing, and it opens this little box, and you're like, the first time I did it, I Googled it, and I'm like, StegSolve, StegSolve. And I pulled on the Java app, and I run it, I'm like, this is lame. Lame, it's Java, it doesn't do anything. Lame. I'm like, I'm going to open an image. All right, so here's our ship from earlier. This is from B-Sides, Vegas. It's like, cool. It opened the ship. Sweet. It's a ship. Where's the flag? I want to win. What do these buttons do? You start clicking. Oh, well, there's the OR, XOR, so it XOR'd the entire image. I was like, well, that's cool, but that's not helpful. At least in this one. Alpha plane. Oh, there's an alpha plane too. So this, as you click through this, it's actually clicking through each one of the planes of the different colors. So here is, hang on, go back one. It doesn't matter. So if you see up here at the top, it says red plane 7. That is the most significant bit in the image in the pixel of the red byte. That's displayed. It's like, cool, who thought to write this? But how's that helpful? So you start stepping through it, and you're like, well, there's the 6th bit in the red plane. There's the 5th bit, yeah, whatever, 4th, 3rd, 2nd. We click. Is it going to click? There's the 1st. Oh, the least significant bit. Hey! They put a flag in the least significant bit of the red. So they overwrote of those or of those bytes or bits in the byte of the pixel of every red one. They overwrote it with all black, and on these ones they wrote white, and there's the flag. It's like magic. When you do, yeah, it's magic. And then as you click through this thing, here's the green plane, and they actually did it in the 0 of all of them. But this tool is super helpful because there's also times where I've seen people, they'll have this image, and they will slightly change the color of certain pixels in the image to spell out a word, and the human eye can't really distinguish it. And as you start clicking through this thing, you'll get like the full red. So this is all the red planes, so all the green planes, all the blue planes. It does random color maps. So when people try to just slightly change the color of certain pixels so the human eye can't really see it, when you start throwing random color maps on it, a lot of times those will just pop out. You'll just see them. It's almost like cheating on these. Because like somebody did all the work for me. All I did was Google stuff. And this solves more Stego challenges than, yeah, Script Kitty, for the win. I'm not going to deny it. I'm not saying I got skills. I got Google skills. Yeah. But so this, and then it does gray bits, and there's back to our normal image. This will also, and I've never used it to solve a challenge, if you can find the original image or another image, you can XOR the current image versus another image and get like a 3rd image or a 3rd set of data. So like I said, that's like after I'm out of all the other, I start doing crazy stuff like that after I'm just totally out right before I fail. Cool? Does that relatively make sense? Because that's like super down the rabbit hole stuff that hurts my head. Cool. Oh, hang on. Nope. Hang on. Let's find the right slide. That's all I had there. Okay, so that's fun. So now, that didn't work. Let's say that didn't work. So we did this, our head hurts. We failed, we've clicked through all the color planes, we still got nothing. Now what? Here's our pixels inside the image. Each one of the pixels has color codes, which you then break down into the binary in each one of the pixels. What if I went to embed data inside of the image as a whole, and I took that binary for each pixel, and I overwrote just the last bit of each byte in the image? And there's like a 50-50 chance the data I'm going to try to embed is different than the data that's already there, right? Because it's a 1 or a 0. So we got like a 50-50 shot. I'm not a math guy. I'm going to say 50-50. Odds might be different. We're rolling with it. So if you do that across the image, how much of the image do you think you can overwrite before the human eye can tell? So I was Googling last night to figure out how to actually explain this because I didn't want to actually go through the exercise because that takes time and Google's easy. So I found, and I have, if you want this presentation, I have links to like all the research on this stuff so you really know how it works. So I found a guy's blog, right here, that he took a source image of the balloons and then he embedded the picture of the dude and this other like black and white color scale thing in this image. Cool? So this is the source image with the picture of the guy and the color scale thing embedded, overwriting just the one least significant bit. Can you tell the difference between those and that picture of the balloons? Because I can't. So cool. What if we overwrite 2 bytes? Can you tell the difference between those? No. So we've overwritten what? Math is hard. 25% of the data in the image, 2 out of 8. 4. So at 4, once we overwrite half the data in the image, we start to get like color and image quality degradation. You can see it, right? So you can see that's messed up. At 7, you can actually see. So once you overwrite, shoot, what's that? 87.5% of the data in the original image. You can see the other image embedded bleed through. So you can actually see both images. So cool, but who cares? So I'm doing a CTF. How do I, this is where I really struggle. It's like, okay, I read the research. I don't know how to solve that because that's hard. That's like scripting and math and all this other cool stuff that I fail at. So we're going to use StegSolve because I figured out how to last night how to actually like do this by hand. So we're going to open one that always makes me angry. So we got this. What's this thing? I mean, it's just a random blob of stuff. So this gets interesting. As you click through this and you start looking through the color planes, and this is going to take a while because it's a huge image. So you see we've got our alpha plane and it's just white. That's not interesting. We click and we click and we click. There's nothing. We keep clicking. You're going to find Stego, I click a lot. I'm just seriously staring at images, and it doesn't appear very interesting. So we're on red plane 3, red plane 2, red plane... Hang on. All right, cool. Do you see it? Because that's it. If you look at... So we got a whole plane of black. Look way up here. Do you see this? See how those pixels aren't black? Why is the whole image black except for the pixels in the upper left corner of the red plane of the least significant bit of the image? That's weird. Hang on, let's click through it. We'll go one more. Oh, come on. Maybe we won't because this image is so big it takes forever to click through. Cool. Well, I'll go back. What do you see? You see the same thing, right? We get the same weird randomness. It's in the green plane too. So both the red plane and the green plane of the image have something in the upper left corner, and we know that because the rest of the thing is black. So the rest of it's the same. And that's different. And different says I should look at it because I'm inquisitive and it's a CTF and I'm at a conference and I'll stare at an image as opposed to go into talks because I can watch them later. So we'll click through and we'll look at the blue plane. Yep, it's there too, right? So in the red, green, and blue planes, we have data that shouldn't be there. We don't know what it is yet, but we know it's there. So once again, cool. What do we do with that? Because it's random colors and I don't know what to do with colors. So this thing is cool. The guy who wrote this is awesome. If you click Analyze, and if you click Data Extract, you can actually pick in the image which of the planes of the image you want to pull out, because you could probably script this in Python, but that would take me a long time, or longer than I have, because I'm not really a coder, but I know how to click boxes. And I can say red, green, and blue. Right? In the least significant bit. I'll preview it because I don't know if I'm right. Sweet. So we got a bunch of zeros. You see the preview up there, right? Zeros. We'll scroll because it was at the top. Hey, there's words. Everyone shares the responsibility of securing cyberspace. That's what's in the image. Cool? So that's the hard way to do it. So if you want the easy way to do it and how I actually solved this one, because I just learned about how to do this in StegSolve last night at like midnight. I was clicking through it. I was like, there's got to be a real way to explain this. as opposed to the easy button, which I like. So there's a whole bunch of tools for this stuff, and ZStag is just a tool that will try on PNG, PNG images for sure. It may not support JPEGs. Because the trick is, in those color planes, there's a whole bunch of different ways you can put the data in there, and you've got to pull it back out and assemble it in the same way. And that's hard, and you've got to know how they did it. ZStag is sweet because you can just do this and say ZStag the image. You can kind of see here how it pulls out the data and arranges it in different formats and all the different combinations, because I'm lazy, or efficient as you may call it. And right here for me, it pulled out the red, green, blue, least significant bit, XYB1. There's the flag, that's it. So in reality, that challenge took me like, I don't know, 3-4 minutes to solve because I said, I'm lazy, I did XXD, I didn't see anything. ZStag would read it, I just pointed at it and I said, hey, there's the flag, I win. So, and I have a whole list of tools on here, so if we go back to the presentation, and we're not going to go over all of them because we'd be here all night trying to explain them. Here is just a list of tools, if you get an image, that you can use to solve these challenges or try to solve these challenges. And so just general Linux tools, XXD, Binwalk, Foremost, Wireshark, Strings. There's a whole bunch of LSB type tools. I was a musician, that's all I'm saying. Woo! No, drugs are bad, kids. On the bottom, because I don't know who plays with CTF tools, but sometimes the dependencies on them really aren't fun to install. And you'll spend like an hour messing with random repos and dependencies trying to get this random Python script to work. There's another guy I found, Zardis, or however you say his name, on GitHub. He has a repo with all the install instructions for all of these tools with all of the dependencies, which is awesome. So if you want to know how to install, I'm thinking of RSA CTF tool that we played with the B-sides. There's a whole bunch, it's a weird random crypto tool that Brad found to crack RSA stuff. There's a whole bunch of weird dependencies, and it took me like an hour to install. This guy's GitHub repo has the exact commands to install that tool. So I will never again fight through dependency hell. It will just work because there's 4 commands to run, and it goes. So that's super cool. So we've got your tools. It's too dangerous to go alone. So cool. Yay, we did images. We can solve images. But there's more, because it's a CTF, and people don't always give you the same thing. So we got audio files, real quick, so we don't fall asleep. Audio files, there's a couple ways I found to find flags in audio files. Metadata, MP3s, MP3 tags, that kind of stuff. They're going to give you an MP3 or a WAV file that's really, really, really fast. Or really, really, really slow. And you got to speed it up or slow it down to get the flag out of the audio. Which really isn't that cool. You can just use Audacity. Pro tip, you can use Audacity from the Linux command line, feed it a tempo flag with a tempo, and it will just do it from the command line, so you don't have to mess around with the GUI, which when you don't know how fast or slow you want it is handy. But that's not as interesting to me as the spectrogram, which these are fun, because it really gives you still trying to think of the right way to explain this. The spectrogram is a visual representation of the frequencies of the sound over time. Does that make any sense at all? Because it doesn't to me. So what's it look like? So, what's that? It's freaky. They look freaky. So I'm not going to do this live because I didn't want to fight installing this stuff in Kali, and I didn't want to do a presentation off my other Linux box. So I took a CTF challenge, and I loaded it. Your friend here is Sonic Visualizer. Sonic Visualizer is your friend. It makes it super easy. You might be able to do this other ways. I don't know how. Can Audacity do it? Is it as easy as Sonic Visualizer?
I've never used Sonic Visualizer.
This is easy mode. So you open the WAV file, and you get this. And then you say, that's not helpful, and when I play the audio, there's no flag. And you click on the layer button, and you click Add Spectrograph. And it gives you this. And then you can't see that. But it gives you that, which you can't see either. But it says, flag, curly bracket, like stay indoors. I mean, there's just text in it. So that's what I got. So here's your audio tools that I know of. We can talk images text files. You can do this in text files a little bit, in hex, but I figured you'd be tired of me talking. So that's all I got. Here's my contact info. Questions, thoughts, concerns, comments? You want to teach me something? Anything? Questions? Seriously? No questions? Questions? Good. Thank you. Cool. I'm stuck. There you go.
All right, guys, that wraps it up for SecDSM tonight. Well, kind of. There are still our CTF going. So secdsm.org/CTF gives you everything you need to know to get started. I'll drop a little bit of knowledge on that, I guess. So it is a Litecoin address. Figure out how addresses are generated, and you can pretty easily steal that money. So there's $75 worth of Litecoin in it right now. The objective is to steal it, and it can be stolen. And I'm pretty sure if no one steals it by the end of tonight, then we'll probably just steal that money back. So you got a limited time.
What's the definition of tonight?
By the time we leave, I don't know. But by the time, I don't know who will beat us, me or Tom, or who will get the money first. But so yeah, I don't know. Whenever Tom, right there, whenever Tom or I decide to steal that money back, it'll be gone. So we're cool to hang out here until about 9. So that's all that we had for talk. So please feel free to find some friends, meet some new people, and hang out. Thanks.
Dinner right,